What's up, everybody? My name is Matt Vega, creator of Oast Nation BJJ. This is episode 1 of the BJJ Balance Podcast. My co-host, the man behind all the buttons, Kenny Wilson. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Man, another day. Getting any good training in?
Earlier this week, yeah. I tend to do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'll chill the rest of the week with the family.
It's hard. It's hard being a family man.
Yeah.
And a dad and a working person and a jiu-jitsu guy. Sometimes you got to find that balance. And that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about. Like, you know, just everyday guys who could get it in training-wise, whether you have to get it in early before your family wakes up like me, or you just got to find your little pockets to get your training in and get yourself your release within jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's essential, too. I feel like if I do 2 days, I feel like I didn't do enough. I feel like I cheated myself. If I do 3, it's like I feel like I at least hit. That's my bare minimum. Anything more than that, and I feel like I'm actually putting some actual work in.
Yeah, I mean, what I tell guys is like jiu-jitsu is going to outlive us all. So you got to know when to take your breaks. You got to know like sometimes you're not going to be able to get it in more than one time a week.
Right.
And just consistency, like everybody else says on every other show. Right. Consistency will get you there.
Yeah, my this is actually my second foray into jiu-jitsu. My first time around was before my third child, and I had been with my wife and I were just dating. We weren't married yet. We'd been together maybe like 3 years or something, and I was going like 5 to 6 days a week. I was 35 also, like a lot younger, and I miss being able to do that, but it was like as soon as the baby was born, I felt like a sense of guilt. Like I'm stealing time, especially because she goes to bed so early. It's like, okay, I get off of work. If I go to jiu-jitsu and I get home, like I see her for like 10 minutes before she goes to bed, I feel terrible. Yeah. But at the same time, if I don't do it, if I don't go to jiu-jitsu a couple times a week, just body-wise, energy-wise and whatnot, like it all tanks. And then I'm like, I'm no good to my family, if that makes sense.
Right. Having the release makes you the best version of yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're a blue belt?
Now, yeah.
Got that blue. Got that white. How long were you a white belt for? You got to count that stretch from 35.
Yeah. So that was like a year and a half. I did like a year of no-gi at 10th Planet.
Okay.
And then I went to Hendo's for like when Poncho was still there for like maybe 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
And then I got promoted at work. And I just it didn't work for my time. And then the baby came right after that. So between those two things, I had to step away. I was there while he made the move initially.
Right.
And I did like maybe a month of that, and then that's when I got promoted. Yeah.
Life, yeah.
Yeah. And it was always one of those things where I was just like, I'll come back around to it. Like, I love it. It was my first, like I dabbled. I did martial arts in high school, like Taekwondo and whatnot. And this is in the 90s. This is like, early UFC and whatnot. And I did it in high school. So like the high school I went to was like an art magnet high school. So we didn't have sports teams. So all the money that was allocated for sports got allocated to the arts. And one of the teachers, there was a history teacher there, was a black belt in Taekwondo. So he was like, well, let me teach a Taekwondo class as an elective instead of PE.
Right.
So I got to do that. And then he was doing jiu-jitsu, like just starting out under Fabio Santos in San Diego. And we got to do like a seminar. Like we took a field trip and it was like a 4-hour like seminar at Fabio Santos's.
Fabio Santos, that's a legend right there.
Yeah. So that was like my first, and then I wrestled a little bit in high school as well. Like in a club.
I wish more schools would offer martial arts as a PE.
Yeah.
Because you always see these, especially females. Females they don't like throwing footballs around and stuff like that. Right. If you had like, hey, you want to learn how to protect yourself instead. I don't care. Like, of course, we're proponents for jiu-jitsu here, but any martial arts, boxing, taekwondo, kickboxing, karate, anything is better than nothing. Like, teach a female how to defend herself should be number one, especially in the crazy world we live in now. Right. I feel like that should be a number one thing that we should do.
I think a lot of people, I guess normies that don't delve into the martial arts world at all don't understand like the principles that come along with it, like the self-control and that kind of stuff. So that stuff's like in high school when I got caught smoking. Like it was just my junior year. And I remember that martial arts teacher pulling me to the side when he found out. And he gave me like this stern talk and was like, don't do this shit. It's it's more addictive than heroin. It's gonna fuck you up. Like, trust me. Like, if you listen to nothing else I'm saying, like, stay the fuck away from cigarettes. Like, I'm telling you, you want to live a long life, don't do it. And I remember like that stuck with me. Never been a smoker. Like that the words he said that day have always been like in my head. And I mean, I just feel like there's a lack of martial arts for the youth I'm not saying it's the biggest issue, but there's so many kids just video games, and there's only those big three major sports, the football, the basketball, the baseball. Some kids aren't into that. Right.
And no one's really doing a martial art or something like that, and that could be their release, because if dad played basketball or dad played baseball or dad played football, then he's already got my trophies, my this, and you're trying to make your son be a little bit better than you at that.
Right.
And sometimes that son's like, I'm never going to be my dad.
Yeah, that was wrestling. So my my stepdad, who raised me from like 12 on, he wrestled all through high school. He wrestled in the military. He got a full ride scholarship to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and turned it down because he went into the military during the Vietnam War, and ended up being like the European like military all forces champion for his weight division and whatnot. And he had kids before me, before he met my mom and whatnot. And his second kid was like ranked like third in the nation in wrestling before he got in a car accident and lost his life. Oh. But like there was always that, like when my mom met him, it was a couple years after that. So he had these like, expectations of like, where I'm going to be as a wrestler and stuff like that. Right. And it just, I was like maybe 13. I'm like, these kids that I'm in this wrestling club with have been wrestling since they're 5. You know what I mean? Like they're just wiping the floor with me, and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, there was this like pressure from my stepdad. And in the same aspect, I didn't like team sports. I didn't care about basketball. I didn't care about, I played baseball a little bit, but like I lost my love for it, and I didn't care about football, not watching it, not partaking in it. So I've always liked the individual sport. Like,
and no one can screw you over in an individual sport.
Right.
Like, it's like you either got it or you don't.
Right.
It's like you beat that guy out, you're the guy. You don't have to worry about like coach's son or this or that.
Right.
So, and it's just more functional for real life situations, jiu-jitsu to me, or fighting or MMA. And I'm not really a proponent for little kids doing MMA. I know I see it out there.
Yeah.
I don't think little kids should be punching each other in the head or kicking each other. Just not something I'm really a proponent of. Maybe later, but like when I see like little 5-year-olds just freaking throwing hands, I'm like, oh, come on, man. But yeah, I mean, a little bit about myself. I've been training since 2009. I was a big time sports guy, all the sports, and then all of a sudden that was over. It had nothing to do. My cousin's like, hey, try MMA or do that. We were watching UFC, so I was like, all right. I went in there, got my butt kicked. I was a little old school back then, so they kind of whooped my ass. And I came back the next day. They're like, okay, we'll keep him. Did a couple smoker fights. Blew my knee out. Real bad. I've had 3 knee surgeries on the same knee. And just been training jiu-jitsu, found Poncho. Trained at pretty much every school in the area. Started with Carlson Gracie, Team Genuine MMA, American Top Team. Then I found Poncho, checkmate, blue belt. He belted me, got me the pro belt. I've been with him ever since, and got my black belt 2018. And should be getting my 2nd degree here next summer. So
nice. 5 years black belt. Damn.
Almost. 1 promotion ahead of Jason.
What do you feel like was the hardest belt to get to?
Well, I was a white belt for 5 years. So for me, blue belt.
Okay.
Because all my instructors kept getting moved or deported back to Brazil because there was no black belts. There was no black belts back then. So I'm sitting here and I'm getting to know this guy, and I'm getting a good rapport with him. Next thing you know, he's gone.
Damn.
And so I'm like starting over, new guy.
Right.
And, you know, so I had this white belt in my car just looking at me every day. So finally got my blue belt. And that was a huge belt for me. So black belt, obviously, that's the easy answer, right? But that blue belt was so special to me because every time all my boys were like, I'm a white belt too. And I'd be hanging out there like, oh, you're just same belt as me, so why are you talking crap?
Right.
Dude, I've been training for 5 years, dude. I'm like, I'm out here. I'm out here getting CrossFit, getting my ass whooped. But so yeah, definitely blue belt was tough, but black belt. When I got my black belt, I was I was jacked, you know.
What do you you always hear like the blue belt blues or whatnot. Did you ever get that? Did you ever take a break or bail out?
I mean, financially, it hit me. When I was poor,
Right.
poorer. Financially, like it was tough. Like sometimes to get the training or be able to afford training. But no, the fire's always been there, and that was kind of like that's kind of what I do for my hobby. So when I met my wife, everybody was like, she knew. So I got to do my training. And so it's kind of always been a thing. So it's kind of, believe it or not, kind of like just always stuck. So injuries can set me back sometimes. I've missed like a year at a time because of knee injuries or
Recovery.
broke my arm, dislocated my hip.
Damn.
Stuff like that. So, but other than that, no, it's been, I've really never lost the desire to train because I was always chasing that next belt.
Right.
When I was a white belt for 5 years, it's like, I need to get this blue belt so bad. And then when I got the blue belt, and then the next belt, and now I got my black belt, and then I looked at everybody else and they had stripes on theirs. And I'm like, I want stripes. My belt looks like shit. So like it's always something. Like I'm always chasing. It never ends.
I got a little scared because I remember the promotion before me, a couple guys got blue belt, and then I want to say like maybe 5 did, and 3 of them just disappeared.
That happens.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to be that guy. And I was like legit afraid. I was like, it was a boogeyman. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen. Like you get your blue belt, and then all of a sudden, just something happens, and you just disappear. Like, so I was like legit scared. And then when I got my blue belt, I was just this weird kind of like hunger. Like I was able to breathe. Like okay, that's out of the way. And then it was like I unlocked this like new, okay, everything I've learned up to this point. Like I feel like, quote unquote, like I've mastered that basic premises of those, but like how can I expand on those, or how can I get better at those? But like I'm not focusing on like the real basic details anymore. I understand the basic details. Let me see like how can I chain these things together.
So I don't know if it's the reason why this happens. I've talked about this before. I don't know if it's because when you get the blue belt, you're a lot more sufficient than the guy who don't know nothing.
Right.
You're going to do some damage out there against nobody.
Right.
For sure. I'm 100%. So I don't know if it's like, oh, I got that. Now I'm good here. Now let's go work on something else.
Right.
Or if it's a lot of times guys will get the blue belt. They'll lose a ton of weight, get in there, get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, oh, dude, I lost weight. I've been training. Oh, I train. Like, what do you do? Oh, I train. Oh, that's hot. They fucking chicks like that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to training. Oh, like that's like fishing with dynamite to girls. And then all of a sudden you get your blue belt and everything's good. And then she's like, don't go to practice, stay home. Don't go to practice, stay home. Next thing you're not training. And then you gain the weight back. And then she dumps you. And then you come back up. And then, oh, here it comes. Hey, Joe Blow's back. What's up, dude? Here's your gi. Like, get back into training. I've seen it happen a ton of times.
I need an A3 belt now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, she left me, man. It's over. So I've seen that happen a bunch.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Fortunately, I'm married, so I don't have to worry about that.
No, we locked it in.
Yeah. No, I'm eventually planning to exit the state and maybe go to Texas or something like that. So my goal before I leave is to get at least purple. I'd like to, wherever I end up, I'd like to at least go there with a purple belt.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of has that. If you live in California, that plan it's pretty pricey to live here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is our BJJ blind day. This is the first time I ever hung out with this guy. We've just been texting back and forth. So, I mean, whatever your views are politically, it could be California might not be what you want. You know what I mean? Like So for me, it's not what I like. I probably end up homeschooling my child next year.
Same.
Because I just can't.
We found a homeschool not too far from. Well, it's like a
Charter type.
Yeah, kind of a hybrid thing where they homeschool
3 days a week, and then that's what we're gonna do. I think that's what I'm gonna do also. It's crazy, man, right now. So, who is your gym rival? Now, I'm not trying to say like a person that you don't like, but there's because I remember this.
Oh, I already know
when that one guy shows up, like, oh shit's going down tonight, like it's gonna be a battle.
I got a couple. So I got James. And James, I hope you watch this. Every time he sees me and he steps onto the mat, he goes, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." and I knew we're going back in the corner and we're going. So he's also a blue belt, and he's a cop, and he's a little bigger than me, like same height wise, a little wider. And I know I'm going to get a heavy round in with him. So like it's going to be difficult because I can't throw him around. There's no using my strength at that point. Like if
you're locking heads, it's 8th grade slow dance.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. If he gets side control on me, it's going to be, focus, try to maintain like some breath control and slowly get out of this to get him off of me. But the plan with him is usually like, let's play hard and let's end up on top because I don't want to be the guy on the bottom.
Always on top. Stay 500, baby.
And then I've got another guy, Cody, that actually got his blue belt with me, and he's a little smaller than me, but he's real technical, and he loves to play guard, and I'm like not a guard player. I'm the opposite. So he's a harder puzzle to solve. And though I'm better at it, I still can't solve it completely.
Right.
Sometimes his leg dexterity, like I'll go to pass, and somehow he weaves a leg back in, and he recovers half guard, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like,
yeah, I remember growing up, there was big guys, and all of a sudden now they're not training no more.
Yeah.
Like everybody I started with, like I'm the only one left. Maybe,
really?
Maybe Joey Fink.
okay.
He was a white belt when I was almost a blue belt. Like he was just starting when I was almost a blue belt, but that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like just whoever stays,
You ever do any like other gym open mats or anything like that?
Sometimes I like to go to other gyms and do open mats, and but like if we can get a crew of guys together, but when you're wearing your patch, those guys are coming for your head, you know what I mean? So it's like if you're going to go to open mats, just know like you better bring comp rounds, because if you're not bringing comp rounds, the guys are going to bring it.
I've only done one open mat, and it was back at a 10th Planet that I used to go to. So
they kind of knew you a little bit.
I knew the coach, whom I'm still friends with, but like there was like maybe 2 people there that were still there when I was there. This is 2017 when I was there. So most of those people are gone or moved away.
And I think going to other open mats is beneficial for your training. Right. Especially back in the day, it was frowned upon. You'd have to ask your professor, like, hey, can I go train here? And they'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, but now it's more like it's good to get other looks, because the guys you say that you have trouble with, the reason you have trouble with them is because they know what you like to do.
Exactly.
So it's kind of good to go somewhere else where people don't know what you like to do to see if that stuff still works.
The benefit of going to a 10 Planet open mat is I'm just wearing a rash guard, so they don't know where I'm from really. They just most of the people they have no idea what belt I am at.
Never trust a rash guard. Never trust the rash guard. You walk in there, this guy's got a purple rash guard on, and next thing you know, he's got purple sleeves. Next thing you know, he's a black belt.
Yeah.
You never trust a rash guard. Never trust a rash guard.
One of the purple belts that's at dedicated. I remember his first day. He came in and it was a no-gi day, and I remember rolling with him. And he's like, what belt are you? And I was still white belt. I was like, white belt. And he's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, okay. He fucked me up so bad. He's a purple belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and I remember like at the end of the class thinking like, this motherfucker's not a purple belt. He is not a purple belt. I mean, not a white belt. And then like, I think like a week later he showed up in the gi, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah, he's smiling.
I was like, motherfucker, you told me you were a white belt. Well, it was that day. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, like I don't never trust a rash guard.
Yeah.
going out now, when I go on vacations, I've talked to us about this before on other platforms, but when I go on vacation, I'm not a type of guy to take my gi unless someone's like, hey, you want to do a seminar or something or teach a class here.
Right.
Then yeah, of course. But like, I'm not a type of guy to like go and like teach because I just not trying to get hurt on vacation. You know?
Right.
I'm trying to get it in.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I booked the room. We're on the beach. I'm hanging out with the wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not trying to have like a pulled rib or like a tweaked hip. I'm 39 years old. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, this is not why I'm not trying to be banged up.
You go do a roll day one there, and all of a sudden the rest of your vacation is just
because the darker your belt gets,
right,
the more smoke you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So they're I'm gonna see what this guy's about, and like, they're coming at you, and then all of a sudden it's not your first roll, it's not your second roll. Those rolls are gonna be fine. The mat enforcer is the third roll.
Right.
The third roll, that guy's been watching you get tired, and he's like, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
And then there's the smoke. This is the guy that's come bring it.
Yeah, I took a vacation in May to Texas to go visit my wife's family, and we were kind of like looking at areas that we might want to move to, and I started looking at gyms out there. One of the things that kind of bummed me out is first thing I looked for is there a check mat in like the Dallas Fort Worth area, and but it was like almost an hour away, and I'm like, damn it. And like I'm blessed here because there's like we've got
like 6,
within like 20 minutes of each other. Mm-hmm. Like 6 check mats with it. That's wild, you know?
There's a lot.
Yeah. And then, so that was kind of a bummer. So then I just started looking up like jiu-jitsu gyms in general. And then there was one, it was like a Gracie Combatives jiu-jitsu gym, which is like a weird hybrid jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, they're trying to have more self-defense.
Yeah. Hands. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then I saw one that was like it's like an MMA gym. I don't know where their jiu-jitsu program stems from or whatnot, but then I was just like looking at their schedule, and they were like their gi like 2 days a week, and then like no gi 3 days a week, and I'm like, I want to if I move, I want to find a jiu-jitsu school, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't want to go to an MMA gym that happens to teach some jiu-jitsu a couple days a week or something like that.
Yeah. To me personally, I feel like the gi prepares you more for a street situation than no gi, and everybody's like, oh, that's crazy. No, gi is not realistic. Well, I think gi is more realistic.
Right.
I mean, you're going to find guys wearing pants, guys wearing jackets. Obviously, if you live in Southern California or Miami, but when do you fight guys in your underwear? Never. Right. So, to me, I mean.
Right. Well, okay. I used to be a part of, like, the Harley-Davidson community. Those guys are always in a flannel. Exactly. You know what I mean? There's plenty of things I can grab onto.
Who are you going to fight at the bar? The guy in the Harley-Davidson community. That's who you're going to that's who you're going to fight.
Accurate.
So he's going to have a vest on.
Yeah.
And like
he's going to wear a leather vest, which is great for choking with.
Yeah, that's who you're going to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That's who's going to bump you and be like, hey, man, what you bump me for?
Yeah, he's in a Dixon flannel, good for choking with.
Nice and thick.
Yep. They don't stretch.
Nope. But yeah, for sure. Like I just feel like gi is more functional for a real life situation, and it makes your defense better. I've seen more people. If you're in the gi and you try no gi, you'll be just fine.
Right.
If you're no gi only and you put the pajamas on for the first time,
been there.
You're lost. It's like get guys all over me. I cannot get them off my collar.
My first week at Hendo's, and I remember like I was excited. I bought a gi. And I didn't get like I bought like a Hypnotic gi, which was like a company that doesn't exist anymore. But I spent a lot of money on it, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna get a dope gi. Like I'm really gonna dive into this. And I remember like that whole first week, I would get into these situations where I'd be in rolls, and I would get to I'd get stalled. You know, they'd grab my sleeve and weave it under their leg, and all of a sudden I'm like tied up, and I'm like, I remember on multiple occasions looking at my opponent, going like, hey man, I don't know what to do right now. Like.
Yeah.
You can hold on to me all you want. I'm not going to do anything.
We're stuck here.
Yeah. Unless you make a move, we're not moving. And it was so foreign. And it wasn't discouraging though. Like it was like, oh, there's like, because I did almost at that point like almost a year of no-gi that like at a school that really focuses on like leg locks and like just weird kind of like not basic jiu-jitsu. So like I felt like my level of no-gi jiu-jitsu was like more advanced than your average white belt or something. And maybe it was, but as soon as you put me in a gi, like it was like a completely new sport.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different sport. It really is a different sport.
100%.
But the gi guy doing no gi, will survive a lot better.
I can see that. I can totally see that.
Because he knows the basics.
Right.
Closed guard, the overhook, the
Right.
digging for unders, half guard sweeps. It's all the same.
To this day, because of that initial no-gi training, I still grab a lot of wrists, a lot of forearms, back. Like when I'm getting, I've started in the last year. I've started to play with like grabbing lapels. I really don't mess with like pant legs, just because I'm not used to it. And I've started grabbing sleeves, but God, sleeves just tear my fingers up.
You got a bad guard. If you've got a bad guard, I'm not saying you do because I never roll you, but if you've got a bad guard, the best way is because newer jiu-jitsu guys, the first thing you learn is this cross choke.
Yeah.
Like on the collar, cross choke. This gives guys free access to your pants and their legs. So you're on your neck, but they got your pants to pass. Okay. So it ruins your guard. You need to get off the collar and more on the sleeves because you're dying on the collar.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work.
Oh, that's not even what I meant. I mean, like, just if I'm taking the back, instead of just trying to go under the neck, I'll grab the collar and try to like choke with that.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you general. I'm just saying this is what I see. I see, and so if you get to the sleeves and get your knees in, right, you're going to be a lot more. Your guard is going to be so much better. Yeah. Then reach up and if you got it, go get it. But get back to the sleeves. If you stay on the sleeves, your guard will just go through the roof. Especially as a bigger guy, which a lot of the guys who follow me are bigger. You want these big meaty dude passing and feeding you shoulder. Get to the sleeves. I'm sure when you watch Jason and stuff. Yeah. You never see Jason 2-1 collar in closed guard. He's always taking half guard or on the sleeves.
Yeah, yeah. This week we were talking and whatnot. And he's like talked about how he's been playing a lot of half guard lately, like more so than he used to.
He's got a very good half guard.
Yeah, yeah. That's my my go-to guard. I hate closed guard.
We're gonna make you a lasso guy.
Yeah, I like it. So Jay, when you came in, that's how I actually initially met you. Was when you came in and did that lasso class at Jay's school, and we have been learning lasso up to that point. And I remember learning lasso like maybe a year ago, right? Early white belt, and it was so foreign to me. And I remember like making a comment to the guy that I was training with, and I was like, "I'll never use this. This makes no sense to me. Like this is dumb, you know." Then a year of lessons later, and we circle back around to lasso again, and it's like it was eye opening. I was like, this works so well, and it plays into the game that I like to play already, and that's been, I guess, the most exciting part of like this last year or my journey to blue belt has been like me starting to develop my game, but like real basic, you know what I mean? Like I know there's so much I need to learn, but lasso has definitely become a part
unlocking
of that.
New tools in your journey. Now, the darker your belt gets, the less it's like leveling up in a video game. Yeah, you're getting the level 10 so fast. Yeah. But the level 50, like you'll be at level 49 forever because you're hardly finding any little tweaks. Yeah. So I remember going to YouTube and watching YouTube and being like, every video was a banger, dude. I'm like, oh my God, like I could watch, look at this move, look at this move. Right. Now I go to YouTube and I've seen them all. They all got red bars on them. Like they've drained the ocean of YouTube moves. They're not there anymore.
What do you, so like a guy like me that I've got time at home. I've got a kid that she's 5. It's fun to play jiu-jitsu with her, but I'm not getting anything out of it. Obviously, she's 5. Right. What do you think for a guy like me that would be like I want to get some like solo drills at home? Like I don't have another. My wife has no desire to do jiu-jitsu.
Hey, same, but feel you, bro. I can't even get my wife into gi to take a dirty picture, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
did you sweat in this?
It ain't happening in my house. She refuses, dude. She's like, I'm claustrophobic. I don't want people sitting on me. Yeah. No. So, jiu-jitsu, your solo drills out there, you know? I think like working on your stretching is very good for jiu-jitsu. I think you could simulate like arm bars. There's those dummies. People get the dummies.
So right? I actually was talking to somebody in a lot of people at my school are law enforcement, and I guess Oceanside a lot of them are Oceanside PD. A lot of Oceanside, a couple of the guys are involved in like their combatives program or like their that kind of training. So the Oceanside PD's actually allocated a little more money this last year for them to like buy some more training items, and I guess they picked up a couple of dummies, and they're saying like some guys will go in there on lunch and whatnot and drill with it.
They work 100% because you're learning the move. Like sometimes I'll be trying to teach a class and I'll be like, man, I want to try this move out before I show it to 50 people or 20 people. And I can't get no one to try it out on. So I'm just going for it the next day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So dummies work because you can definitely learn the movements. Now the thing's not moving. So you're not going to get, I'm sure AI is going to make a jiu-jitsu dummy.
Right. Yeah. Hurry up, AI.
That moves and does a little, but
I actually saw one. I saw something like that. It was Gordon Ryan posted it on his Instagram the other day, and it was called like the Rollbot, and it was like $8,000.
Just go to class.
Yeah.
At that point, just go to class.
It's like 5 years of jiu-jitsu lessons paid up front.
G's.
Yeah, but it supposedly it had like when he put it in an arm bar, you could hear it pop. Like when he went,
make snapping arm noises. It says "os." It does, you know what I mean? It does all the stuff. It bows like
immediately just goes a turtle.
Starts speaking Portuguese. Just go to class, guys. I don't know what to tell you. And adopting, like, if you're a blue belt should be adopting white belts. And what I mean by adopting white belts is the white belt who just goes to class cold, doesn't know anybody, he signs up and he's like, I just want to try jiu-jitsu. And he signs up and he doesn't know anybody. It's an intimidating sport to walk into.
Yeah.
Rather than the guy who's like, hey, I work with you. You're my buddy. Come try a class with me. That guy will stay because his friend is there.
Right.
So blue belts, you guys should be adopting white belts. You should be like, hey, you're new. After class, talking shit, that's the best time in jiu-jitsu. When everybody's just hanging out, talking jiu-jitsu or talking whatever, the coffee, water cooler talking, that's the best time. That guy, that white belt who just got mangled, is just walking out. He just took his L and he's going home. He's like, hey, man, come over here, blah, blah. Like, hey, man, you're really strong. Like, dude, next time you do this, like, you guys got to welcome him into the community because we need our white belts to get better. There are jiu-jitsu dummies. You don't have to pay $8,000 for them to say "os." You know what I'm saying? That's who we need.
Yeah,
you got to keep our prey happy.
I picked up this book a couple months ago, maybe like 6 months ago. I think it was called like 5 Rules for White Belts. Mm-hmm. It's like an easy read, 100 pages, big letters. Like it took, I don't know. I read it in like an hour.
You know how easy, I ain't gonna read it.
Yeah,
this guy reading books. I don't read books.
But it was what I liked about it is it kind of reset my mindset as far as like training and like when I went into class, like what I would expect. And it nothing in the book is about like technique. It's all about just like mindset or like how to like organize your thoughts, or like he has what he calls like a positional ladder. So he talks about like, you know, the bottom rung would be you're in somebody's mount, and then the next would be, you know, you're in their side control, and then it's a step up from that is you've maybe got them in half guard, and then up from that you've got them in guard, and then up from that like you're in their guard, like, and then all of a sudden it flips.
Right, because now you're attacking them.
Right.
So I had the same thing where I used to go like 0 and then -5 and then +5. Right. And we both start off at 0. And I'm going for your neck and you're going for my neck. And you know what I mean? You can jump straight from 0 to 5.
Right.
But chances are you're going to miss, and this guy's going to go down too because you didn't do the steps properly to get there.
And what he was talking about is like, you know, when you are climbing that ladder, like, don't move to the next rung if it's going to put you in a position where you're going to drop a rung either. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that you've got all of your bases covered. And then he talks about like weight distribution and like, you know, creating frames, and like kind of like explains it like an architectural standpoint and stuff. And one of the things that I read in the book that just totally resonated with me and it clicked was, and something I tell white belts all the time, like, hey, don't worry about the names of moves. Like I
don't even know the names of moves.
Yeah. Well, and then Jace even told me, he's just like, he'll ask Poncho like, hey, what kind of choke is it? He's like, I don't know, it's a choke.
Yeah, and it works.
So, you know, like don't worry about what something's called, like, or if you're stuck in a position and you don't know what move's going to get you out of that position, like, okay, let's focus on the limbs. Okay, so he's on top of me. Like, can I trap one of his arms so he doesn't have a weighted base of that? Can I trap a leg on that same side? Now I've trapped both of his. Can I sweep? Like, I don't know what the name of that sweep was called, but I just swept you because I just looked at the basic points of your body. And so, like, thinking like that versus, like, trying to remember, like, oh, now I'm in X guard, and now I transitioned to this, and it's just like...
Just keep it stupid.
Right.
The number one thing that helped me when I was a lower belt, and I still use it to this day if I'm in a bad position, I think I figure myself watching UFC on TV. I try to get outside of my body and, like, what does this look like from a bird's eye view?
Okay.
Because when you're close and you're, like, smashed, like, you can't really think of, like, where's his body? What's it look like? So I kind of slow it down and try to get outside my body and look down. Because everybody's watching on TV, like, just move your leg, you're out. Like, so I try to, like, figure, like, okay, I'm looking down. Is his guard open? His guard is open. Okay, where's his knee? And I can try to get a picture. And sometimes that helps me get out of a bad position.
Do you ever close your eyes?
No, not on purpose, I don't think. I've never been like, no, I've never like that invisible jiu-jitsu. Like,
I've been doing it. Well, I don't know why, but like lately, I'd say like the last month or so, like with certain people, you know, where like, let's say it's like a medium grade white belt, roughly the same size or whatnot. And it's just like, okay, there's not gonna be a lot of strength here. I need to focus on technique. And I might get in like a weird position where it's like, let's just close my eyes and see if I can feel this out, you know, and see if I can feel like, you know, where their arms at, or just it's been weird, but it's been kind of beneficial in some aspects. At least it feels that way.
I'm not saying, of course, I think it would, like, if you can do it blind,
right?
Well, you can do it. Like, we have a guy in our class who's blind.
No shit.
Yeah, he's purple belt.
Damn.
Kills it. So I mean, definitely, because if you can feel the guy without knowing what he's doing, without him being able to see, like, of course that's an advantage.
I think it's like feeling their weight distribution and things like that. Just
sometimes you use your attributes to your physical attributes will get you in trouble.
Yeah,
like I said something a couple weeks ago. I said I think it's harder for a lighter weight or a female to get a black belt than it is for a bigger guy. Yeah. Because as a big guy, over 200 pounds, I've always found a way, like, all right, I'm just going to chill in this garden. I'm chubby. I'm tired.
Right.
We're stalling.
Yeah.
Little guys can't stall.
No.
They have to be on their back because we put them there. And they're getting smashed, and they have to use technique. Every round is a dog fight.
Do you ever find yourself, like pulling your weight to not be, like...
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, the reason I started doing closed guard is because guys would be like, oh, you beat me just because you beat me because you're big. You're so strong. I can't. Like, so I'd pull guard and then sweep them and then beat them. Yeah. So, like, yeah, definitely read the room. If I'm going to get someone who's 150 pounds, you're not going to get all 255.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, I'll make it a point not to, like, bury my chest into them. You know, I'm 220.
I will pressure tap guys, though. Believe me, if I get a chance to pressure tap you, I'm because that's my favorite thing to do. Just tap you with side control.
What I've been trying to teach someone, like, we've got a couple of, like, newer white belts that are maybe like a month or two into it, and I'm like, I'll get them in side control, and they'll fight out of it. One of the guys is really strong. He comes from, you know, a gym background, and when you start that initial roll, he's trying to murder you with his strength. So it's been fun to kind of navigate that. It's like, okay, how can I go with this guy and not get injured? Because he's trying to kill me right now. And as soon as he gasses and whatnot, and you can get him in side control or something, it's just like, okay, I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on him just so he can kind of feel it. I'm not going to be a dick.
Gotta cook him.
Yeah. But you can, it's what I've started to do it a lot lately with, like, a few different people, and I'll hear their breath change, like, as they're breathing and they're in side control and they're just breathing normal. And then all of a sudden you just hear, like,
that's it.
And you're like, there we go.
That's it. That's the tell. That's the tell right there, 100%.
Yeah.
I like to just, like, you know, I call it cooking. I mean, big guys do this a lot. They, like, all you new big guys out there that are trying to just literally just be explosive and powerhouse. Like, yeah, you bench 350, whatever. Like, you're powerhouse. Don't show them the power right away.
Right.
A lot of these big guys are showing their power right away. So I'm like, oh, crap, this guy's strong. Now I've downloaded your power.
Right.
So when you do explode, when you actually have something, I felt the power before. So I know
what to
what the
expect.
intensity is going to be of it.
Right.
So get in side control. Don't show your power until you're actually ready to go, and then boom, then explode with the power.
Right.
If I'm feeling it the whole time, you're not going to surprise me with anything.
Right.
So that was the thing I used to do a lot. I used to just be a freaking meathead and the whole time, and then I'm gassed because I'm flexed out.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that with a couple people lately where I'm just like, and they know better too, because they like one of the guys, he's maybe 3 weeks into it, and his like desire to learn has been really neat to watch. He's like stoked on jiu-jitsu right now. Both of his kids have been doing it for like a year and a half or 2 years. So he's there, and he's at every single practice for his kids. So he's been watching it. And I think one of his kids finally said like, "Oh, why don't you do it, Dad?" And he's like, "Well, you never asked me." So he signed up like the next week. And now he's like, he's now having to practically do what his kids have been taught when he's been watching in the practices, and he's like, "Oh, this is a lot."
And it's great for parents.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're sitting like, just get up.
Right. Yeah.
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And now you're doing it, and you're like, oh, wow, I was talking out of my ass. I can't get up. You know, so I think it's great for parents to try at least a couple classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll really stop that from the sidelines coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do a lot of coaching?
I have been, yeah. So like I've been teaching classes, and then when I'm at the tournaments, like a lot of my buddies, I'll coach them on the side. Pancho lets me coach them on the side. So it's probably something I like coaching more than competing.
Yeah.
So, but I am going to compete again this year. That's the plan.
I heard you had like an IBJJF ban or something like that.
Kinda, yeah, because I only competed at purple belt. So, and then I was injured at brown belt, like pretty much the whole belt.
Oh wow.
Broke my arm, dislocated my hip, broke a rib, knee surgery, all at brown belt. So when I didn't compete at brown belt because I was so banged up. So once I finally got my black, I tried to go IBJJF, and they're like, you can't go because you didn't compete at brown, so we don't know. Even though my Poncho said, like, the time frame, it's been like, you know, but they're going to put like a ban on.
How weird.
So
you
like,
have to.
I have to pay the registration for it, which is like, what, $45, whatever. But then I still can't use it for a year. And then, so I'm like, I don't want to give you guys my money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I need to do that, though, because I do want it. I wish I was there in Vegas this weekend.
Right. Yeah. Do you, we live in kind of like smack in the middle of a jiu-jitsu mecca.
No, 100%.
Between like San Diego, where we're at, shockingly, like where we live in California is like a town you've probably never heard of, but there's so much jiu-jitsu in this town. It doesn't make sense almost.
No, it's like, it is the mecca.
And
because it's cheap.
Right. Right.
Not cheap compared to the rest of the country. Cheaper than living beachside.
Right.
And it's not far to the beach. Brazilians love the beach.
Right.
And they can kind of live here without spending like crazy mortgage rates and still be an hour away from the beach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're like major schools, like 45 minutes south, 30 to 45 minutes west, you know, another 20, 30 minutes north. It's wild. Just
and you'll notice is when you move or when you decide to go to another state and train, your jiu-jitsu will just be like, what? You're a purple belt?
Really?
Right. Like, yeah, you'll be like, oh, all right. Like, I'm used to going against this.
Right.
Because some schools don't have any black belts.
See, that's one of the things that kind of bums me out. It's just like, I kind of see it. Just I started following Instagrams of a few different gyms in the areas that we were looking in Texas. And I'm like, I found one school that is just a jiu-jitsu school. And they post a lot of like, you know, their daily classes and whatnot, like, you know, who is in attendance, just, you know, size wise and whatnot. And it looks like they've got a fairly wide variety of like, you know, sizes and belts and whatnot. So, you know, there will be like 4 or 5 black belts, and I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like
work is work.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. If the instructor is legit, smoke is smoke. So
right.
like that's great. But I have a buddy of mine who moved. Yeah. And he said the jiu-jitsu was not up to par. And he didn't have you know, he said that like it wasn't getting the work that he liked, you know?
Right.
So he had to like find his smoke. So like he would like go to different open mats and stuff like that because as a higher belt, his class school back next to his house only had blue belts
Oh yeah.
So like he had to go find
Right.
different stuff. So and then he had to move him back. He's back. So, which I'm thankful for because I like rolling with him. But yeah, you gotta. It's definitely different. It's diluted.
Yeah.
Like you come here like Poncho, we have like over 20 black belts.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime I go to Checkmate Marietta, it's a treat because there's first of all there's a handful of people that I know just from the years of knowing Jason and stuff like that outside of jiu-jitsu, and then there's always just a ton of belts of different sizes, different age groups. You know what I mean? So you've got a wide variety, and then there's absolute monsters in there. Yeah, like okay, I rolled the last time I went there for open mat. I rolled with Phil.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's fun. That's fun.
Yeah,
good times.
And I remember rolling with him, and I'm really giving it my all. And
he grabbed your sleeve and kicked your knee and rolled you over.
People are walking in the door still because I was like one of the first people there, and he's like not even paying attention to me. I'm going all out on him, and he's turning his head, welcoming people with his free hand. Oh, welcome in, guys, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm trying to kill you right now. You've got me stalled, and you're just, having a side conversation.
Phil's hit that next level right now.
Yeah.
And man, that boy's killing it right now. For sure. He gave me all I can handle. Freaking give me the business a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Jesus. I had a stack of Phil, then Hanato, then Poncho. And then all of a sudden Clint's like, hey. I'm like, hey, bro. I was like, nah, dude, I'm done, dude. I'm done. I'm going to go melt over here in the corner. Like, I don't know what that was, what just happened right now, but that was not cool. It was like a gang initiation.
Yeah.
Phil was my warm-up round. And he just gassed me because his cardio is so fantastic.
Yeah.
Kicking my knee, pulling me, kicking me. I was just dying. And then all of a sudden, Hanato, Colossus, destroys me.
Not even fair. The guy is built like an actual comic book superhero.
Yeah, you're the Colossus.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. Throwing me around. And then Poncho's like, Matt, come here. I'm like, oh, dude. Man, he highlighted me. Poncho threw me on that day. It would have been an intro to a UFC fight. Like they'd have been on the highlights, like I was showing him freaking murk me, and then freaking if it was a TV show, I was like, God, what a day. But you need days like that. You need days where you are the nail, and sometimes you're the nail put in sideways in the wood. You're not just the nail; you're the fucking bent one.
Yeah,
that gets hammered in anyways. You need that because that's what makes you better. That's what makes you grow. So I'm already thinking like, okay, well, why did I lose to Phil? Is he better than me right now? Yeah, 100%. All because I gave him my freaking left sleeve. I know he likes that,
right?
So maybe hide that, so you can like download your losses, so you can come back the next time and be better. So that's what's important.
What's your go-to submission?
My favorite submission is body pressure tapping people because I just think it's funny. But my favorite submission, is probably head arm triangle, north south choke. I hit that a lot. I hit the head arm triangle a lot. There's a couple of lapel chokes I do with the gi. Arm bars are always fun to hit. Taking it back and rear naked choke in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bow and arrow choke is probably the most efficient choke from the back. If you train under Jason, you've probably been bow and arrow choked by him before.
Oh yeah. Head and arm is like my bread and butter.
Reverse head arm.
Never done that.
It's the gangsterest. I'll show you after this. It's the gangsterest choke there is. And you hit it so much easier than the head arm.
I feel like in no-gi, my gi and no-gi they're two totally different roles. It's like I'm two different people. Mm-hmm. In no-gi, I feel more confident taking the back. I still struggle in gi with like, just because all the fabric, like trying to get my hand under the chin. And I feel like people are able to hand fight better.
For sure.
But in no-gi, I really feel like I can finish.
So are you training more gi or more no-gi?
Right now, more gi. Yeah, I do gi once a week. Or no-gi once a week.
They got a good setup over there. Jason's school's growing a lot. When I was over there and I visited you guys, like, it was good times. I'm going to go back there soon.
When I started there, he had been open for about a year, so he had like a couple of blue belts, like maybe like 2 or 3, kind of trickled in. It was like almost all white belts, and then like in the last year, a lot of those people have been.
I remember when I can't. His name's blowing my mind right now, but he's a brown belt there, tall, curly hair.
Oh, Gabe.
Yeah, I remember when Gabe was a white belt.
Oh no shit.
First 2 classes.
Yeah.
And now it's purple or what? Brown.
Yeah.
And he was rolling with me.
Yeah. He's so strong.
He's came a long way, man.
Yeah.
He's come. He came. I hope not. He's come a long way.
I'm sure he has.
I'm sure he has. He's an old man. My man's out there, brown belt, 100%. I'm sure he's come a long way because, yeah, man, when I locked up with him when I was doing situationals after we showed the class, I was like, wow, yeah, man, definitely a lot different than when he was a white belt because I think I hadn't rolled him since he was a blue belt.
Okay.
And, like, he's definitely got so much better. So
he's one of those guys that I don't look forward to rolling with initially because I know I'm going to get my ass handed to me. But at the same time, afterwards, like in hindsight, I'm always happy that I did because there will be like, he's not my once a class roll. He's like my once a week or like once every 2 weeks roll. It's kind of like my litmus test. Like how much have I grown? Like, can I?
And you should. That's exactly what it should be.
Yeah.
You should, set games up for yourself. When I was lower belt, I would tell myself like, I am not going to tap more than 2 times today. And like, I know I'm going to lose, but no one's tapping me today.
Okay.
And if I tapped, I'd be like, damn, I lost that day. And I still do that to myself now. I'll be like, Matt, you're going to go there. They're all lower belts. What is your game? I need 3 arm bars.
Okay.
If I don't get 3 arm bars today, I failed. So even though I have my money submissions I could get, I'm looking for the arm bar. So like a lot of times you'll be rolling with a higher belt. You're like, man, I'm doing really good against them. But maybe he's trying to get something that you know what I mean?
He's only focusing on one path.
So I'm like, I need my arm bar.
Right.
Because I could stab you right here with this, but I told myself. And if I don't get it and all of a sudden I miss it and he's on top of me.
Right.
He guy's feeling great. He's like, oh, yeah. But, I'm looking for something specific.
Yeah. I try to, I keep a jiu-jitsu journal. And so what I'll do is every class before class, I'll read the prior day's journal entry because it's just about the technique and shit that we learned.
This guy's deep, dude.
I get nerdy with it, bro. And everything,
dude, that's so cool.
As you can tell, everything I do, I go.
That's so cool.
Balls to the wall with it.
I am not nerdy. Like I can't. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Well, I am nerdy, and there's times when I was in high school, I was like, hey, I want to be nerdy.
Bro, you literally just said you wanted to buy Starfield, and you were going to buy an Xbox Series X.
That game looks sick. Like I've been a gamer my whole life, right? You know what I mean? Come from wild parents. Like the video game was my babysitter. I like that stuff. When I was in high school, I saw the kids playing Magic the Gathering,
right?
And then I saw females,
yeah.
And I was like, I had to make a decision. I was like, guys, that looks fun.
Believe it or not,
that looks so much fun.
Pussy is better than Magic the Gathering.
But I gotta go this way. I have to. I was like, there's no one sitting at these lunch tables with you guys. Some dude just playing a guitar, other guys playing Magic. I'm like, hey man, I gotta go over here. So like, I like nerdy stuff, and I wish I could be a guy who could just journal and like get like. I think that's cool, but to me, I'm just kind of like such a meathead. I'm like, I was just not my thing.
Yeah, it helped me with like retention. So like, I've only had one private. I took a private with Jason before I did my last comp, and I struggled for the longest time with passing guard. Just wasn't something like, again. Jiu-jitsu schools are weird when you come into a new one because you don't know like what they've learned and what like where they're at right now. Like, so you don't know like when they're going to circle back around to
what you need to know. Right.
So apparently the whole like passing guard thing, like I've missed every lesson on that up until Jason eventually taught it. You know. So I did this private with him, and I'm like, he taught me 3 what seemed to be really functional like guard passes, and I'm like, okay. That worked for my style of jiu-jitsu. And I remember leaving the private, and my kid was with me. It was like a Sunday morning, and we drove. I went to a park so she could play, and I just like tried to recall everything that he just taught me, like literally step by step. Like, grab this, grab that, push down on here, like posture up, like in the order. And like as I was writing it down and recalling it, I was like, it was like I was in that lesson again. I was like getting a second private out of it. And then the next class, so that was Monday when I went into class, I reviewed that before I started. And then I did my pre-class journal entry because I'm that nerd. I do 2.
Oh, double
then,
that.
Yeah. So then I'll journal like my goal for that class. Like, okay, I want to focus on, regardless of what we're learning, I want to learn, or I'm going to focus on like trying to pass people's guard today. So I'm going to put myself
in their guard.
And then I'm going to try to pass using one of these 3 methods that he showed me. And then after class, I'll kind of like recap it. Like I failed, this pass. And then like, as I'm remembering how I botched it, like, cause I missed this step, and I'm kind of like correcting myself after the fact. And it's helped. It's helped a lot.
Tremendous. Also videotaping your rolls.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that
I feel weird about that.
I know, because you're like, dude, you just gotta let your partners know. Like, hey guys, I'm not gonna put you on the highlights on the IG. Okay.
Right.
Like, this is strictly for me watching my rolls and seeing what I'm doing wrong. Like, man, I'm putting my hands on the mat. You put your hands on your mat, I get plot. Like, why do I keep putting my hands on the mat? Like, why am I posting this leg so close to his hip?
Right.
Now he's scooping my foot. It's good to watch your film. No one's gonna care. Just tell the guys, be like, hey guys, if you're worried why I'm have the tripod up, it's because I'm trying to get better at my deficiencies in the game. Like, I'm not a guy who's gonna post anything. And some of the guys are like, I don't give a fuck, post it if you want. But like, just let them know. I'm like, hey, so that you know I'm recording, because I like to watch my rolls back and see what I'm doing wrong. I don't think anybody would have any issues with that.
Right. Okay.
Because there's guys that do that in our class. So I mean, it is what it is. So I think that's a good choice. Definitely the journaling and all stuff, that stuff's all beneficial. Don't let me talk shit. But like, to me, I've never been a guy who's just wrote it down like, dear journal. Like,
I'm gonna out myself right here. I'm like weird about pens. Just I use.
Oh, you have a quill? No, please, no. God. Hey, tell me right now. This guy's just. He's just fat. The music.
No, so I mentioned earlier I kind of grew up in like the hood in San Diego. So I grew up writing graffiti. And I've been like, just because of that part of my teenage years, I'm real picky. Like the not picky, but like when I find a pen that I like I'm like, oh, I fucking love this pen. I'll go buy 10 of them, because I'm like, when I run out, because I do a lot of writing at work. I want to make sure I've got another one. So when I bought this last journal, I was like, I don't want to write with a shitty pen, Like, if I'm going to really do this, like, I want it to be an enjoyable experience for me, as nerdy as that fucking sounds. So I bought like an $85 pen. And I know there's like way more. I know there's way more expensive pens than that. But
I have not bought a pen in 20 years. They're giving out at work. I'm a UPS guy, so they give me the UPS pen. But I have not bought a pen in 20 years.
I told my wife about the pen, and she was just like, "You did a what?" And I'm like, "I bought an $85 pen." She's just like, so then it came in, and she wrote with it, and she's like, "I don't know why the fuck you bought this." And I'm like, "It feels good in my hand. Like, I'm enjoying it. I don't know." So, but it's forced me to journal. Like,
yeah, you got to get your money back, dog. You fucking $85. Like, but I'd be writing every day. Like, hey, I don't give a shit. We're writing it down. Grocery list, honey. She's like, I already made one. I'm doing it again.
No, you did it on the iPhone? No.
Said no. I need you writing it out old school.
Yeah. We're going analog with our grocery list now.
Yeah, man. It's been awesome, guys. Doing this, meeting you has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I literally was on IG, and I was like, this guy at the Dedicated, everything I do, everything I post, he comes in and goes, nah, I don't think so. I think this is better. And the next post,
it started with backing into parking spaces, bro.
And then hey, men back into parking spaces if you got trucks. And then he's like, I don't believe in that. That's some alpha shit. And I'm like, oh, well, there we go. That's me. I'm fucking trying to be that guy. And then everything, he'd always have like a little remark. And I'd be like, okay, all right. And I was like, you know what? We don't get along. We have different opinions. That'd be a pretty fun podcast. He's like, look what I got. I'm like, oh. And I was like, well, here we go. I mean, like the stars aligned, like it was almost meant to be.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to thank you for making this happen.
Yeah, I'm stoked. It's there's a little bit of selfishness in it. You're a black belt under a professor that I have an immense amount of respect for. And you taught a class, and what you taught, it resonated with me a lot that day. I messaged you afterwards, and I was just like, thank you, because like we had already learned some lasso stuff, and like some of the details that you went over really kind of clicked. And
Very cool.
You know, as far as like bringing in, you know, that lasso in like really tight, or kicking the leg out far before you tighten it up, and it was like hugely beneficial just even that week in rolls and whatnot, because I normally when you learn a move in class and then you try to do that in a practical setting like that same week, like it's worthless, because they just learned that move as well. They know it's coming.
You better hit them week 3 with it.
Right. But after what you taught that following week that we just learned it, I was hitting lasso all the time, and like nobody was stopping it, or I would get it so tight that they couldn't break it, and I'm like, it just worked.
Yeah, it's a good resting position too. If you're like gassed, like, I'm gonna let you hold you here real quick.
That's lockdown for me.
Yeah.
I play a lot of lockdown, and people fucking hate it.
Yeah. You want to break the lockdown? I'm my boy Kenny here. And get your hands under his ass cheeks. Okay.
People say that,
and you sprawl hard, and you pop those legs open.
So I'll play like a loose and I'll lock down if I need to, but like I'll have it just tied up. But I do a lot of sweeps from it.
Yeah, I mean it's an effective position for sure.
Yeah, I think it gets
because you can really move the guy's leg.
Yeah.
So it's the damn lockdown.
Yeah, people hate it.
But yeah, man, I look forward to doing more. Of these.
Hell yeah,
dude. Let's freaking get a BJJ Balance podcast, dude. It's here, episode 1. So yeah, man, let's do it again.
I'm down.
My name is Matt Vega, Oast Nation BJJ. This is Kenny. We'll put the @ in the thing so you can follow us, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Oast.